Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Thank you all so much for coming on today. Thank you to all platforms. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Periscope, I am on YouTube as well. So thank you so much for coming on. Do me a favor, begin to type in the comment section where you are watching me from. If you are watching this live, if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for being on as well. But if you're watching the live, please post where you are from. Thank you all again so much for getting on, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. It's been a while since I've been able to do this, but I'm excited and I'm glad about being able to come back to you and help with mental and emotional health strategies. Okay, I see South Georgia is here. Thank you, South Georgia, for being in. Birmingham, Alabama. Haven't been to Birmingham in a minute. New York City, love New York. Huntsville, Alabama. Thank you for being on. Yeah, thank you for being on today. University Place, Washington. Okay, never been there before. But thank you for being on. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Thank you for being on as well. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I want to talk to us about all that's going on. I know that there is a lot that's going on. There's a lot of information that is out there. There is a lot of content. There are a lot of people talking. I just want to add briefly my voice to this discussion. And so today I'm going to talk about just breathe. And this is an emotional health perspective to all that is going on in our nation right now. There is a lot of things going on, as I mentioned. There's a lot as it relates to gun violence, racism, police brutality. Injustices in our nation and even in our cities, individual cities, there's a lot that's happening. So I just want to talk and make sure that we are strengthened emotionally. Thank you, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, for being in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Thank you so much. If you all would do me a favor and please share this with somebody that may need this. And so, again, I'm going to be talking about Just Breathe. For those of you that do not know me or you are new to this platform, my name is Joshua Smith. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I'm also a life and business coach, and I am passionate about helping people live emotionally healthy, whole, and free. And so I do that through counseling, through therapy, through coaching and mentoring, training, and developing people. And so let's talk for a minute. I realized something yesterday, and many of us, this is what I realized as I was watching things happening and then watching my timelines on different platforms, different networks, right? I realized that for many of us, our minds are always going. Okay, our minds are always going. Now, that can be a good thing or a bad thing, right? That can be a good thing or a bad thing. So there are many types of personalities in the world. But we must learn how to manage our personality. Can you type that? Manage our personality. I must learn how to manage my personality. I know for me that I'm always working on something, right? I'm always doing something. I always have my hand in something, and it seems like I'm always doing something. But for me, since that's my personality type, I've had to learn how to relax. Okay, I've had to learn how to breathe. I've had to learn how to be present in the moment. I've had to learn how to center myself, or else I'll become overwhelmed. I'll become frustrated. I'll become anxious. I'll become all types of things, stressed out. And so I've had to learn how to manage my personality. And so even though I have that personality type, like many of you, that's always going, seemingly, always doing something, my mind is always going, I've had to learn how to calm my mind down. One of the best ways to manage your personality is by practicing the skills and the techniques of emotional health. Okay, I'm going to say that again. One of the best ways to manage your personality is by practicing the skills and the techniques of emotional health. Now, I'm very passionate about mental health. I've devoted my life to helping people live emotionally healthy and to have these skills, because this is one of the ways that we manage our personality and that we de-stress when we need to. Emotional health means this. It means that I am aware of and in control of my emotions. Can you type that? Let me know you're tracking with me. I am aware of and in control of my emotions at all times. And so that means I know where I am emotionally. right? I'm able to identify my emotions. I'm able to put my finger on that emotion and able to call it out. I'm able to say that this is where I am, and also this is what I need to do about it. Okay, so that's the first layer of emotional health. I am aware of and in control of my emotions, and I am able to communicate my emotions, right, appropriately and effectively. Got it? So I'm not only aware of my emotions, I'm able to communicate my emotions appropriately and effectively. Okay. And so the goal here, when we talk about emotional health, the goal is not perfection, the goal is growth. Okay. You might want to pull out a notebook as well and write some things down, because I'm going to drop some nuggets. I'm not going to be long, but I'm going to give you something that I believe that'll help with your life. Okay. Again, the goal with emotional health is not to be perfect, because none of us are, but we are perfected. That means that we are growing, right? We are maturing. Yes. Okay. And so communication, my ability to communicate my emotions appropriately and effectively, to respond and not react, that speaks to my level of emotional health and my level of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is how smart I am with emotions. Okay, so I'm going somewhere with all of this, so just stay tuned. Okay, and it's also my awareness, listen, of the emotions of other people. It's not my control of their emotions. It's just my awareness of their emotions. And we call this empathy. It's my ability to feel what that person feels, to be able to empathize with them. Right. And so I'm not only aware of my emotions, I'm aware of the emotions of the person that I may be dealing with, interacting with, whether I am in deep relationship with them or not. Okay, so I'm aware of their emotions. I'm also aware of how my emotions and how my behaviors impact and affect them. Okay, so when we talk about emotional health, again, the goal is not perfection, it's growth. And so what this comes to is, I'm going to ask you a lot of reflection questions, because this is just what I do. This is how I teach. When it comes to emotional health, are you aware of where you are emotionally? Again, when it comes to your emotional health, are you aware of where you are emotionally, right? Are you aware of what you're feeling? Are you aware of when it's time to pause and take a break, listen, and be human? Okay. Are you aware of those times when you need to just stop and be a human being and not be a human doing, as I always say? Okay. Are you aware of those times? Okay. And so there are times that our mental health and our emotional health, there are times in when we are trying to take care of ourselves emotionally, when we need to just breathe. Can everybody type that? Just breathe. Yeah, just breathe. There are times in our lives when we need to just breathe and enjoy the moment, when we need to just pause. We don't need to think about anything else. Don't worry about what's coming next. For a brief moment or two, we need to stop and just breathe. I see you. Type it out. Just breathe. Just breathe. So this is what we're going to talk about for the rest of my time with you. Now, this just breathe, that's a twofold statement, right? One part of that statement relates to relaxation. Okay. And that's going to be my focus for today. But the other part of just breathe, it also relates to the injustices that have been perpetuated against persons of color in this country for centuries. I'm going to just talk about that just for a few moments. Okay. So when we say just breathe, it's also talking about not just relaxation, but it's also talking about injustice. So the blood of African-American individuals in this nation, Black people, brown people, persons of colors, the blood of us, the blood as we have died in the streets, died wherever we have died, is crying out from the ground, right? It's crying out to be avenged. And so it doesn't matter what anyone says or anyone tells you, it is time for that blood to be avenged and for justice to be served. And so you have Black men such as George Floyd, who had a white officer, whose knee was on his neck for nearly 9 minutes while he was saying, "I can't breathe." That metaphorically represents persons of color who have had their breath taken away, both literally and figuratively. Are you with me? It is exhausting. So see, I just told you where we are emotionally. I just gave you a feeling word. So when someone asks you how you're doing, I say this all the time. When people say, I'm okay, I'm fine. No, let's dig deeper. How are you really feeling? No, I'm tired, right? I'm exhausted. Because in one sense of the word, my breath is taken away figuratively because I feel like I can't relax. I'm going to help you with that today, right? That's why you logged on. And on the other hand, literally breath is being taken away. Life is being taken away. And so it is exhausting. These type of situations weigh on our mental and emotional health. Listen, when you hold your breath, either physically or metaphorically, that means that you are tense about what will happen next. And so holding your breath is a fear response. Can you type that? A fear response. When you hold your breath, when I hold my breath, I am waiting for the next shoe to drop, as the saying goes, right? And so again, this is exhausting. Many of us are seeking relief. And it's also anxiety producing. When you're holding your breath, it is anxiety producing. It's saying, I don't know what's going to happen next. Okay. And so this is a fearful place to be in when you can't breathe. You feel like your breath is restricted. You are holding your breath. And so can I help us today? Yes, there is work to do. There is work to do both naturally and spiritually. But yesterday's verdict was a win. Okay, this is a multi-layered conversation today. I said there is still work to do spiritually. We still have prayer to do. There is work to be done. There's work to be done naturally as well. Dr. Bernice King says that justice is a continuum. I love that. But yesterday, can we stop? I'm setting you up for something. Can we stop for a moment and just be present in the fact that yesterday was a win? When that verdict came in, because many of us were holding our breath. And I was watching the TV, said, I'm fine, I'm good, I don't feel anything. But as when the jury came out, of course, we couldn't see them. And we saw the judge, we saw Derek Chauvin or whatever his name is. We were looking at that screen. And when I saw the judge, immediately I felt myself restricting my breath. I felt that fear response. Does that make sense? I was good all the way up until that point. And so no matter how you want to spin it, and no matter how much work we have to do in the future, and no matter the injustices of the past, let's be present in the fact that yesterday was a win. Are you with me? Okay. And so this is what I observed. Many of us could not allow ourselves, because you have to allow yourself. The freedom, the liberty. We could not allow ourselves to enjoy it. We couldn't allow ourselves to just breathe physically and metaphorically for just a few moments. To say, yes, this was a win. Yes, there's work to do, but this right here was a win. For these few minutes, let's just celebrate this win, that justice, and not even justice so much as accountability. I'm going somewhere. Let's talk about this. Let me go deeper, because many people experience what we call ambivalence. Can somebody type that out for me? Ambivalence. Yes, many people have experienced ambivalence. Ambivalence simply means that I am experiencing two different feelings at once. Thank you for all of you that are joining me, that are continuing to join. And thank you all for being diligent about sharing and commenting. Okay, ambivalence. This means that I have two feelings at once, and these feelings are contradictory. These feelings are conflicting feelings. And so I want to breathe physically and metaphorically, figuratively. I want to be relieved. That's the metaphoric part. I want to be relieved. So I want to breathe, but I'm afraid to. I want to celebrate that justice has been served. But what about the long road ahead? Okay, so I have multiple feelings at once. Can I put Bible in here because I'm a faith-based clinician? Okay, Lord, I believe. But help now my unbelief. Type it again if you haven't typed it. Ambivalence. So I have two feelings going on at once. Do you know how complicated we are as humans? Do you know how complicated our mind is? How complicated our emotional state is? Everything is not black and white. Right? There is room for gray area, especially as it relates to our emotions. And so there's a whole word for this: ambivalence. And so listen, family, you can excel over here in 1 minute and still be vigilant over here. It's possible. I said you can exhale in one place over here and still be vigilant over here, because we were celebrating George Floyd and then Ma'Khia Bryant. Look her up if you haven't heard about that. This was happening over here at the same time. Okay, welcome. And this is not a pro-black broadcast. I'm just talking about what it is and where we are right now. And if you're American, if you are human, you are with it. You are in it with us all. But welcome to being Black in America. And so if we don't talk about the emotional state of this, and if we don't deal with the emotions of this, we're going to be anger, bitter, jaded, and not able to move forward into the future of what we need to do. Ambivalence. So while we're celebrating and we may be catching a breath, something else is going on over here that will literally try to take our breath again. Ambivalence. And so with ambivalence, here is how you handle ambivalence. Write this down. Be self-aware of the ambivalence. Don't try to act like it's not there. Be self-aware that I have two conflicting feelings at one time going on inside of me. So admit that. And then you are able to work through the internal confusion that you feel, right? The internal conflict that you feel. But if you never admit it, if you never come into a place of full self-awareness of it, then you can't work through it. Okay, but it is also okay to be present in the moment that you're in and enjoy the moment. Don't let life rob you of your breath. Can you type that? I will not let life rob me of my breath. So take a moment to breathe. Take a moment to breathe, because in the next breath, something else may be coming. Got it? Take a minute to breathe, because in the next breath, something else may be coming. Okay, let's talk more about relaxation and breath for my last few minutes. Everybody type this word: mindfulness. Okay, mindfulness. One word: mindfulness. Many of you have heard of this. There is a principle that we use in therapy called mindfulness meditation. I'm going to teach just briefly about this. Mindfulness meditation. What does mindfulness meditation mean? Mindfulness meditation is going to connect with everything that I've said previously. Mindfulness meditation means to be present in the moment. So I condition myself, my body, my heart, my mind, even my spirit to be what? Present in the moment. You got it? So in mindfulness, I am focused on and I am aware of where I am. So I'm living in the present moment. In mindfulness meditation, I am also allowing I'm allowing myself. So this is an intentional act. I am allowing myself to feel what I feel with no guilt and no judgment. Somebody type that. No guilt, no judgment. I'm allowing myself to feel what I feel and to think about my thinking and to also enjoy the moment that I'm in right now. And so the way that our mind is set up, especially in the society that we live in, right? There's always hustle and bustle. We're always on the go. We're always on the move, to the point that we have lost the art of focus. Our minds are always wandering. I started talking about that in the introduction. Our minds are always wandering. We're always going, right? That there's always something next. But mindfulness meditation says, be present where you are right now. Don't worry about the past, because that can produce feelings of depression. Don't worry about the future. That's anxiety producing. No, be present in the moment that you are in right now. Enjoy that moment and also work through whatever's going on in that moment. Does this make sense? All right, let me give you this. Mindfulness has no religion. Because I've seen many people get confused about this. I was one that was also confused about this years ago. But mindfulness has no religion. Somebody type that and help the people. Mindfulness has no religion. Okay, so mindfulness is not a religious practice. Here is the confusion. Mindfulness is used in Hinduism. It's used in Buddhism. But it's not purely a Hindu or Buddhist practice. Please understand. Please hear me. Mindfulness has no religion. Okay. And so mindfulness principles as well as meditation is in our Bible. If you are a Christian, okay, if you are a Jew, mindfulness meditation and meditation rather is in the Hebrew Bible. But what has happened is we have allowed, hear me, we have allowed, because we don't know how to focus, we don't know how to breathe and sit still. And we're not a people that are accustomed to principles. That's another broadcast. But we've allowed other religions to take those things and use them for their benefit. And use them to their benefit. And so Hinduism, Buddhism, they have integrated things like meditation. They've integrated things like mindfulness. They have interwoven these things into their religion. And so when people think about meditation, immediately people start thinking about Buddhism. They start thinking about Hinduism. When these practices are not purely religious practices, no religion just uses them. So why can't we reclaim these practices and use them for our benefit? Because they have spiritual benefits, they have emotional benefits, they have physical health benefits. Let me know if I'm making sense. Okay. And I'm going to talk more about that in my webinar on May 15th. Make sure that you're registered for that. But I'm going to give you some scripture, Psalm 46:10, because I don't like just saying stuff and not being able to substantiate it. Psalm 46:10, be still and know. Yeah. Somebody type for me Psalm 46:10. Thank you to all my scribes on all these platforms today. Psalm 46:10. It says, be still. That's mindfulness. Okay. And there are techniques that go along with this. Again, I'm going to go into more depth in my webinar on the 15th. You can register on my website. But be still and know that I am God. That's mindfulness. Psalm chapter 1 talks about meditation. David said the blessed man meditates on the word, Haggah, meditates on the word, Haggah in the Hebrew, both day and night. Are you with me? Okay. And be still. Listen, be still and know that I am God. That's how you get to 2 Timothy 1:7. Let me say that again. Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God, is how you get to 2 Timothy 1:7. For God did not give us a spirit of timidity, cowardice, and fear, but he has given us a spirit of power and of love and of a calm and well-balanced and disciplined and self-control. That's the Amplified Bible. And so when we don't practice the discipline of mindfulness, we remain also in a place of being triggered. That's good. When we don't practice mindfulness, we remain in a place of being triggered because we're not sitting still and just being. Somebody type those two words, two powerful words, just be. Just be. Just be. If you practice just being, you will come into a place of calm, well-balanced, a disciplined mind, a mind of self-control. Just be present in the moment. So I have another reflection question, a couple actually. How often do you practice just sitting still? You will get your focus back. You'll be able to think clearly if you just sit still. And I'm not talking about, oh, I need to get away to a resort, or I need to just go. No, I'm talking about daily, in your daily life, in your daily practice, integrating mindfulness, just sitting still, just being still and being present. So you can think clearly, so you can focus, enjoying the moment, just being. Another reflection question. Hope you're writing these down so you can go back and think these through. Have you given your soul a break today? Now somebody needs to post that on their timeline. Tag me and let the people know, let the world know that you were watching Wellness Wednesday. Come on, let's get the buzz going. That's a good thing to put on your timeline. Ask the question of yourself and of people in your network, people in your circle. Have I given my soul a break today? What is my soul? It's my mind, it's my will, it's my emotions. Come on. We do this in ministry. We're going and we're going and we're going. We do this in life. We're going and we're going and we're going. I wish I had more time in the day. I wish I could do this. I wish I could focus. No, all of that is within your power. Right? All of that is within your reach, but you have to allow yourself that time to just be. And so this relaxation skill is something that you train your brain to do. Can I just say that for a minute? You have to train your brain to do this because we're not naturally accustomed to doing this. How do I train my brain? Can I help you with this? I train my brain by what I do repetitively. Got it? I train my brain by what I do repetitively, and I train my brain by what I think. I said, I train my brain by what I do repetitively. That's neuroplasticity, basic neuroscience. And I train my brain by what I think. Proverbs 23:7, psychology and theology. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Amplified says in behavior. And so whatever I do repetitively, that becomes my reality. Called it. Whatever I do repetitively, that becomes my reality. And so I literally train my brain to do this or that by what I'm doing in repetition. And so the soul is more powerful than the brain. Okay. My soul is my mind, it's my will, it's my emotions, it's my behavior. My brain is a bodily organ. It's only going to do what I input into it. And so my soul trains my brain. What I do in behavior trains my brain. Is this landing? Does this make sense? Okay, this is neuroscience. And so my brain can literally change. How? Intentional exercise, repetitious behavior. I use this example all the time. You probably go the same way home every day from work. And your brain knows that way, and you can do it without thinking. That's how you get home, and you wonder sometimes, how did I get here? I know I drove, but I don't remember driving. Because over the months, over the years, maybe, you've trained your brain by what you've done in behavior. Caught it? And so whatever I do repetitively, it becomes my reality. That's neuroplasticity. And so repeated behaviors shape and strengthen our brain. And so as a man thinketh, if you want to integrate mindfulness or any type of emotional health principle, any type of new behavior, whether it's spiritual, emotional, natural, if you want to implement any type of new behavior into your life, you must do it repetitively. Okay? And not for 21 days. That's a myth. It's much longer than that. So I have a challenge for you. Here's my challenge. Everybody type challenge, challenge. And somebody typed autopilot. Absolutely. That's it. Because many of us are on autopilot. And I find myself in the same, because it's just human behavior. And we're not living up to our full potential because we're just on autopilot. We're not focused. We say it all the time. I preached a message years ago, and I was talking about when you say, well, I'm on autopilot, I can do this without thinking. That's not a good thing. Because you're saying you have no new challenges. You're not challenging your brain. And scientists have told us for years that we only use a small portion of our brain. Challenge. You ready? Practice sitting with yourself and just being present this week. 10 minutes a day. That's the challenge. 10 minutes a day. Okay, you got it? Practice sitting with yourself and just being present. Nothing to do. And what you will find is when you first start doing it, it will be one of the most difficult things you've ever done because your mind is going to want to think about what you have to do next. Or your mind may want to go back to review the day or what you've done, or even further back than that. It takes intentional practice and focus to just sit still and be still. But it's relaxation. And if you don't train your brain to do this, you'll always be off center, off focus, not living to your full potential. So I challenge you, take 10 minutes for the rest from, Wednesday until Sunday. Practice sitting with yourself. And as believers, come on, believers, we know that we sit with ourselves, but we're never by ourselves. The Holy Spirit, the Paracletus, he's always with us. So there's something that you have to work through while you're sitting with yourself. He's always present with you. Okay. So a good example of this, a good example of being present is when we sit in the garage or under the carport or in the parking lot when we get home and don't move. That's an example of being present. So before you go in the house, many people do this. Just sit in the car, unintentional. So you don't know that you were doing it, but I'm telling you, that's mindfulness. That's a step toward mindfulness. You sit in the car, you sit in the garage, and you're sitting with yourself. You're just being. You're transitioning from your work day, your school day, to your home life. Yeah. Relaxed, present. Does that make sense? That's what that is. Okay. And that's also a good thing about this pandemic. And you know, that's a skill too, right? To be able to extrapolate good from bad. All things work together for the good. And so there are good things that have come out of this pandemic, as horrific and deadly as it has been. It has forced people to be present and to sit with themselves. And that's why people were trying to get things to open back up. It wasn't all economic reasons and trying to, boost small businesses and get the restaurant industry going. That wasn't it for everybody. People were trying to get back to normalcy, to normal life, because they were tired of sitting with themselves, by themselves, because we don't like to face ourselves. So if everything is open, now I can start running the stuff. I can start running to that mall. I can go and do stuff. I can be out and about. And so our inability, hear me, our inability to be present and just sit with ourselves, be with ourselves, by ourselves, it has threatened churches. It has threatened marriages. It has threatened relationships. It has threatened friendships. But if leveraged correctly, and if I put in the work for personal growth and development, you're coming out of this pandemic better than you went in, because you faced yourself. You learned how to deal with yourself. You've learned how to be with yourself, by yourself, and also be with the people you're in covenant with. But we don't like looking at us. It's that whole mirror versus window thing. We'd rather go to the window to look out than run to the mirror to look at ourselves. Be present. Mindfulness. All right. As I prepare to close, while you're sitting there and you are being present in the moment, there's another skill that you can add to this. Everybody type deep breathing. Deep breathing. Deep breathing. And I'm talking about literal deep breathing, not the breath that we are taking figuratively and metaphorically that I started out talking about. I'm talking about literal deep breathing. Okay, and so deep breathing is a relaxation technique. Sometimes when I teach deep breathing, some people say, well, I'm always breathing. Well, of course you're always breathing or you'll be dead, right? But when we say deep breathing, we're talking about intentional breath. Sounds like it's connected to mindfulness. We're talking about intentional time breath, timed. Okay. And so here's the thing about deep breathing. Life will choke you. There are some situations that you experience in life that will literally and figuratively knock the wind out of you. And so here's what happens when we are stressed. Hear me. When we are stressed, when we are tense, we hold our breath. Have you ever realized that? Have you ever noticed that when we're stressed out, when we're tensed about something? Ever been in traffic and it was bumper to bumper and you didn't know what was ahead and you got all these cars around you? Notice how you start breathing. So after this live, you're going to start paying attention to how you breathe. I promise you, because now you're self-aware of it. So it's an evolutionary principle, right? It's the evolutionary response of fight, flight, or freeze. When we are in tense situations, traumatic situations, troubling situations, one of the first things that we do is start restricting our breath, right? We hold our breath. It is a fear response. And so you do it more than you realize. It's something that is so subconscious. And with the things that are going on in this world right now, we have become greatly desensitized. Yeah, we become desensitized by what we see. And so we're so accustomed to seeing bodies lying in the street. We're accustomed to turning on the news and seeing all of these things that we're seeing. And so if we continue to just see this and we don't pull back some, yeah, and realize and time our breaths and be present in the moment and be intentional about our wellness, then we'll continue to be just desensitized and things will just continue to happen around us and we'll have no sensitivity to it. And so I'm going to plug this in here now, if I could. Learn how to disengage and unplug. Can you type that? Learn how to disengage and unplug. That's self-care. I did it yesterday. Like everything got shut down for a moment or two. All of my social media, phone and do not disturb. You have to learn how to compartmentalize your emotions or you're going to be overwhelmed. You don't have to be connected to all the breaking news that's going on. Can I relieve somebody here? You don't have to be connected to all breaking news. Literally, I took breaking news off of my phone months ago because I don't need to be connected. It's okay if I'm not in the know 24/7 about everything that's going on in the world. It's going to get to me somehow. Promise you it is. And so we are responding to our phones like Pavlov's dog. Yeah. Every time it dings, there we go. Every time it dings, there we go. And we're running to that, and it's desensitizing us to the things that are happening around us. Okay. I just thought I'd plug that in there. I'm going to talk more about that in my private Facebook community, mental health strategies community this week. But type unplug. Unplug. I'm going to close here. When we don't take the time, because we're talking about deep breathing, but that unplug was a good thing to throw in there as a sidebar. When we don't take the time to do intentional, measured, timed, deep breathing, the following things can happen. These are some results and consequences of not breathing. Remember, when things happen, we hold our breath. Right? When we don't take the time to breathe, to practice, this is an emotional health strategy. So we throw things out like, take care of your mental health. But what does that mean? You have to be taught skills and strategies on how to do that. And that's why I'm here. All right? When we don't take the time to deep breathe, we live in fear. Type these out, if you will, my scribes today. We live in fear. Yes, we live in the fight, flight, freeze response of our brain. So that makes us very emotional and very tense. Here's another consequence. We are on edge. Yep. We are on edge, mentally on edge, physically on edge. Our body, did you know your body can be on edge? Yeah, you feel it in the pit of your stomach. When you feel that feeling, because I get it too, in the pit of your stomach, it's time to take some deep breaths. We're going to talk how to do that as I close. Okay, spiritually, you're on edge. Now, can I help us spiritually? Because there is a difference between being alert and on edge. That's the spirit of fear coming in. Caught it? There's a difference between being alert, watchful, sober-minded, and being on edge. We were not created to live in a heightened sense of arousal 24/7. We just were not. Our bodies were not created to be at a heightened sense of arousal all day long. You will wear yourself out physically, emotionally. We were not created to be on 10. No, how do you get yourself down from a 10 to at least an 8? That's progress. To a 5, to a 2. Okay? And so, intentional deep breathing. Let's get some benefits of intentional deep breathing. But first, let me tell you how to do it and perhaps show you. Okay, this is very simple. There's several ways to do it. One basic way that I tell people to do it is in through the nose, out through the mouth. That's it. And you do that until you feel a sense of calm coming over you. So again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And you take enough breath in that you're going to blow out candles for an 80-year-old person. So pretend it's your 80th birthday, visualization, okay? And you're blowing out candles on your 80th birthday, and they literally put 80 candles on the cake pre-COVID. 80 candles on the cake and not an 80. So you have to get up enough wind in your lungs to blow out 80 candles in one breath. That's how much you need to take in. Okay, got it? Somebody type that. I see you. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Okay, so how long do I do it? As long as you need to. Are we together? In through the nose, out through the mouth. And you know what? These masks that we have to wear in public, okay, these masks actually help you to do this incognito. It kind of helps you to do it undercover. Yeah, so you can be deep breathing under that mask. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Type it for me. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. So this intentional deep breathing does several things. It calms the nervous system. Again, we were not created to live in this heightened sense of arousal. We were just not created for that. It relieves pain, physical pain. Yep. It increases blood flow and lowers blood pressure. Deep breathing also improves digestion. Do you wonder why those of you that work out, those of you that have trainers, those of us that have trainers, while you're in between reps and the trainer's telling you breathe, that breath is going into muscle groups. It's helping with blood flow. It's helping to relieve pain that you're feeling because of that stretching. Got it? So it improves digestion. It increases oxygen level, blood flow, and oxygen from the brain. And I say this all the time. We need all the oxygen we can get to our brain. Okay? Also, deep breathing moves you from back brain to front brain. Got it? Back brain to front brain. What is my back brain? My back brain is my limbic system. Amygdala, hippocampus, all of these things. That's my fight, flight, freeze. That's my memories. That's my sense of smell. All these things that are triggering. So that's my emotional brain. Somebody type that for me. Limbic emotional brain. And so many of us live our entire life for the better part of it in the limbic system. So we're making emotional, irrational decisions. And on the back end, we say, oh, I didn't mean to do that. I wasn't thinking. No, you weren't thinking, you were feeling. There's a strategy for that. There are strategies for that. One of the simplest ways to get yourself from back brain, emotional, to front brain, which is rational thought, is the prefrontal cortex. One of the best ways to get you there is deep breathing. Isn't that good? If you're enjoying this, say, I'm enjoying this. This is good. This is helping me. Again, moves you from back brain to front brain. Clear and rational thinking. Somebody type this: no more emotional decisions. You need to write that in your notebook. Write that in your journal. Write that on your timeline. No more emotional decisions. I can't afford to make any more emotional decisions. No, I need to access power, love, and a sound mind. But there are ways to do that, believers. I'm talking to us now. There are ways to do that than just quoting the scripture. No, we got to do more than quoting. We got to walk the principles out. All right. So have you taken time to breathe today? Intentionally. So that's kind of the difference between existing and living. So I'm existing because I'm breathing, but am I living? Because I'm intentionally breathing. I'm well balanced. I'm calm. When something hits me, I'm able to step back and say, okay, let me just take some deep breaths, get myself together, and now I can deal with this better. With all that's going on in the world, all that's going on in your family, all that's going on in our cities, all that's going on in your heart, unclench your jaw, relax your shoulders, take some time today to be present in the moment and just breathe. Just breathe. Last thing I'll say, did you know this is just a little benefit, a little extra for the believers? Did you know that breathing is an act of worship? Breathing is an act of worship. Acts says, in him we live, yeah, in him we move, in him we have our being. And so watch this. Every time I breathe out, every time I exhale, I lose breath. And I have to depend on him for my next breath. And so when I breathe in again, I breathe in God. Okay, I breathe in God's air. I breathe in God's oxygen. He is the air I breathe, literally. And so worship is my awareness of God and my honor of God. I said worship is my awareness of God. Worship is my awareness of God. Breathing is my awareness of God. That's worship. Because without him, I don't have my next breath. And so when I breathe out, when I exhale, that everything that hath breath, I need him to breathe in me again. Job said, I believe it's Job 33, the breath of the Almighty gives life. And so when I breathe out, if he doesn't breathe back in, I'm not breathing. And so when I'm deep breathing, when I'm breathing in and out, I become more aware of God because I need him for my next breath. So people, yes, I'm done. Yes, there is more work to do. I quoted Bernice King earlier. She said this yesterday. I saw it on her Instagram. Justice is a continuum. But can we just enjoy the moment? Yes, we can. We can be present in the moment. You get a whole lot done. Please hear this. I'm closing. I promise. I know I've said that. Typical preacher, right? You get a whole lot more done when you're focused, when you're present, when you're not all over the place, when you've trained yourself how to be present. That's a skill. Because when someone is with you, but their mind is on the other side of town. Come on, OJs. You can tell when somebody's not all the way there. We go through entire church services. We go through entire dates. We go through entire days at work. And parts of us are in other places. Most of the time, that part is our mind. Yep. Train yourself to be present. These principles that I've talked with you about today in brevity, and yes, it's been in brevity. I know it's been over 30 minutes, but this is just scratching the surface. But these principles are not just relatable to what's happening in the news right now. No, these are life skills. You can use these when life hits you, knocks the wind out of you. Life tries to choke you. You can focus on what's coming much better when you allow yourself to be present in the moment right now. Okay? So as a clinician, I've observed multiple feeds yesterday, not news feeds, timelines. I've observed multiple feeds, and it demonstrated to me that we have an issue. There's room to grow as it relates to ambivalence, mixed feelings, contradictory feelings, and there's room to grow with managing fear and anxiety in turbulent times. But mindfulness, right? Deep breathing will help you to center yourself, to refocus and manage yourself. Train your brain by your behavior. All right. I hope you were blessed today. If you were blessed, say, this helped me. This helped me. This helped me giving it to you. Thank you for being here for Wellness Wednesday. Again, thank you for all platforms. We are on Facebook, my personal page and my public figure page on Facebook. We are also on Periscope. We're on my YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, go over to YouTube and make sure that you subscribe. I'm going to be doing this as much as possible. Wellness Wednesday. Again, I'll be talking more in depth about this and other principles, other skills. I'm passionate, as you can see, about training people how to live emotionally healthy, whole, and free. So I'll be talking more about these type of principles during my one-day soul healing, faith plus mental health masterclass. And that will be happening on Saturday, May 15th. Okay, somebody type that in the comment section. Saturday, May 15th at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And there'll be a playback for those who register but cannot attend live. Okay, but we will be on May 15th. It's a private Zoom webinar, so you need to register to get in. The registration cost is $21.21. Right? Small nominal fee for the content that you will get. If this today is any indication of what you will get, yeah, you need to be on, right? Because I'm not going to give you anything halfway. Always going to be excellent and top notch. All right. So this is our mid-year check-in. Our mid-year check-in during Mental Health Awareness Month. Okay. Mental Health Awareness Month is every May in this country, United States. So a lot has happened. A lot is going on. Come and get the tools that you need, or perhaps get your tools sharpened. Again, you can't just say be emotionally healthy, be mentally healthy. No, there are principles, there are skills, there are techniques, and we're always learning them, even those of us that teach them. All right. So again, May 15th, you can go to the website. It's scrolling across the screen, right? www.thejoshuasmith.com. All right. So we do a lot of spiritual development. That's good. We are triune beings. We do a lot of physical development. Don't leave your soul out of the development. All right. Soul growth and development. The soul is the core and the foundation of who we are. I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And so if our soul isn't healed, if our soul isn't well, then no other part of us is. I hope that you've seen today that having your soul right will help you in your spiritual walk. It'll even help you in your physical body. So we are interconnected in all of these ways. So again, thank you for joining me today. Take some time to breathe and be present today. Love you.